Hi, it's Katrina. From a valley full of golden mummies to a lost pharaoh found, here are 10 amazing recent discoveries from ancient Egypt. Number 10. Valley of the Golden Mummies. Just south of Cairo, there is an archaeological site known as Bawit. In 1994, it earned its stripes as one of the most astonishing archaeological landmarks in Egyptian history. Researchers discovered a 2-square-mile necropolis that is home to a large number of tombs. The story goes that a man was chasing after his donkey when the donkey's leg fell through a hole in the ground. In the hole was gold. The man called the authorities, who brought in archaeologists. When they first looked inside, they found 105 mummies, some with ornate masks of gold, earning the site its name, the Valley of the Golden Mummies. Dating back to 332 BC, this necropolis has given us a wealth of information about life during this time. Among the 105 mummies found originally, there were a wide variety of burial types. Some had gold masks and chest plates, while others displayed more modest burial techniques involving terracotta and linen. This implies that there are many different kinds of people buried in the valley, representing a wide array of social classes among the dead. Unfortunately, there were no inscriptions found anywhere, so it has been hard to tell who the mummies were. Since then, researchers have predicted that this is nowhere near the end of the story for the valley. Since their original excavation, archaeologists have uncovered hundreds more, each with their own distinctive method of preservation and burial. They estimate that there may be closer to 10,000 mummies in the necropolis. Number 9. Communal tombs for priests. In the Tuna El-Gabal site of Minya, archaeologists recently discovered one of the first Egyptian archaeological discoveries of 2020, a communal tomb that was intended for high priests, the head of the religious caste in ancient Egypt. This necropolis is called Khumun, and it was dedicated to the god Djehuty, or Thoth, who represented knowledge, magic, writing, and the moon for ancient Egyptians. The temple priests were very important for the Egyptian culture. They would shave their entire body because it meant having a pure body for the gods. They were the only people who could open the temple's doors and touch the gods' golden sculptures. They burned perfume and incense to make divine the temples, and they used to leave food in front of the golden sculptures as an offering to the god who reigned over the temple. So far, archaeologists have found around 16 tombs, including 20 coffins, that differ in style dramatically. 5 are limestone with engraved hieroglyphic texts, depicting stories of different gods, including Osiris and Epi. Others were made of wood, and some were decorated with the titles and names of their owners. They've also found upwards of 10,000 Hatshepsut figurines, about 5 to 30 centimeters long, engraved with the titles of the deceased, symbolizing the dead. This is yet another discovery in a long line of recent ones in Minya, including mummies, jewelry, and other sacred figurines, making Minya one of the most sought-after archaeological sites in the contemporary world. And now for number 8. But first, let me know your favorite discovery from ancient Egypt in the comments below. Also, I wanted to give a big shout out to Jolly Space Pirate and Sky Chishio. Thanks so much for supporting this channel. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe and join the Origins Explained family. Number 8. Hatshepsut's mummy. The Valley of the Kings is where archaeologist Howard Carter discovered King Tut's tomb in 1920. But before that, in 1903, he had found a tomb and opened it. Inside were mummified geese and partially disturbed remains of 2 women laying side by side. The tomb was not royal, so the mummies were put away and stored for many years. Thanks to the Discovery Channel and their $5 million DNA project funding, they determined that one of the neglected mummies was the most powerful female ruler of Egypt, Pharaoh Hatshepsut. Egypt's foremost archaeologist, Zahi Hawass, said that this is the most important discovery in the Valley of the Kings since the discovery of King Tutankhamun, and one of the greatest adventures of my life. Hatshepsut reigned during the 18th dynasty and was one of the most controversial pharaohs of all time. She disturbed some essential Egyptian beliefs. For example, the role of pharaoh was known as the living embodiment of the male god Horus, and disturbing the tradition of rule by men was a big challenge for all the Egyptian traditions. However, she tried to adapt to these patriarchal beliefs. She took the name of Mat-Kare and sometimes referred to herself as Hatshepsut, adding a su, the masculine word, at the end of her name. She often wore men's clothing and a false beard. Under her rule, the Egyptian empire expanded. Upon her death, she was mysteriously erased from history, most likely by her son, who took over the throne. When Zahi Hawass reinvestigated the tomb for the upcoming Discovery Network special, they determined the mummy to belong to a large woman between 45 to 60 years old. Notably, her teeth were in very bad shape. They used a CT scan to look inside a box associated with the queen, where they found a tooth. Incredibly, the size of the tooth matched the mummified remains. This helped to confirm that the unidentified mummy was in fact the pharaoh. She died under very mysterious circumstances. Number 7. Temple of Bastet. Cats are some of the most beloved creatures on Earth, but as much as you love cats, it's a safe bet that Egyptians loved them even more. Archaeologists recently discovered a temple devoted entirely to the cat deity Bastet in the El-Gabal region of Alexandria. It is a remnant of the Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt, which ruled in the area 305 to 30 BC, until Octavian defeated Cleopatra, the last member of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Researchers think that the temple belonged to Queen Berenike II, who was married to Ptolemy III. Bastet was originally worshipped as a feline with the head of a lion, a relative of the great sun god Ra. But the Hellenistic Egyptians thought of Bastet pretty much the way they thought of the Greek god Artemis. It is the first royal spot in the area discovered to date. The temple is also home to various statues and pieces of pottery. Given that Alexandria sits atop these ancient ruins, there is, without a doubt, much left to be discovered in the area. Number 6. Valley of the Kings. The Valley of the Kings is one of the most famous cemeteries in all of Egypt, containing King Tut's coffin and a number of other members of ancient royalty. In 2019, the Valley of the Kings became even more interesting. Archaeologists uncovered the mummified remains of 2 women next to the resting place of Hatshepsut, the formidable pharaoh. Those are not the only things that archaeologists uncovered there. In addition, they found a kind of workshop where laborers made things to construct tombs, a few workshops for pottery and furniture, and a room that was clearly meant as a mummification area. They also found a large piece of wood about 3 feet long that looks like a 2-pronged fork, inscribed with hieroglyphs which translate to Lord of the Two Lands. Archaeologists think that this tool might have been something like a forklift to hold furniture to put it inside the tomb. Additional inscriptions found on pottery at the site tell the tale of the workers who devoted their lives to the Valley of the Kings. Researchers hope to reconstruct the lives of those who helped us build the artifacts that amaze us to this day, because these recent discoveries help to tell their stories with accuracy and care. Number 5. Black Sarcophagus. There is yet another recent Alexandrian discovery that had the archaeological world rubbing its hands together in anticipation. In 2018, archaeologists in the Sidi Gaber area of Alexandria discovered a granite sarcophagus that is entirely black. If you're digging around in ancient Egyptian territory for long enough, you're likely to find a coffin or two. But what's interesting about this sarcophagus is that this one hasn't been cracked open for around 2,000 years, an unlikely occurrence given the prevalence of tomb looting for years. They know this because there was a thick coating of mortar between the top and the remainder of the burial chamber. Upon this discovery of the black sarcophagus, stories began circulating that the tomb was cursed. It was found when local authorities were doing the standard archaeological excavations before construction begins on new projects. About 16 feet below the ground, they found the coffin along with an alabaster bust of a man. It is said to be the largest sarcophagus ever found in Alexandria. Despite the possible curse, officials finally opened the coffin to discover 3 skeletons and red-brown sewage water. No one knows who these people are, and it's too soon to tell. But given these recent Alexandrian discoveries, along with our improving technology, it must surely be an exciting time to be an Egyptologist. Number 4. World's oldest cheese. Cheese lovers of the world, unite! Cheese is one thing that can bring us all together. And if you're of an adventurous nature, maybe you'd be interested in trying some aged cheese. But this cheese is probably a little too aged for even your liking. This 3,200-year-old wheel of cheese was found in Mayor Ptolemy's tomb, but in 2018 it was discovered that it was full of bacteria that can cause the potentially fatal disease brucellosis, caused by unpasteurized dairy. But who was Ptolemy? He was the mayor of Memphis, Egypt in the 13th century BC. His tomb was actually uncovered a while back in 1885, but until 2010 it had disappeared into the misty sands of the desert. Inside his tomb was a large jar of solidified gunk that was determined to be cheese, probably made from cow, sheep, and goat's milk. It is possible that ancient people may have used cheese as medicine. Until now, though, there was no proof of whether or not it was part of the daily life of ancient Egyptians, and researchers aren't quite sure what it would have tasted like. Regardless, this makes this sample the world's oldest cheese. and the world's oldest reported biomolecular evidence of brucellosis. Number 3. Tomb of Khufu. In Saqqara, Egypt, archaeologists recently discovered the mummy of Khufu, a highly decorated official under the reign of Pharaoh Djehuty. This means that Khufu's remains are 4,400 years old, but it appears that time has not done a great deal of damage. However, there was another tomb found nearby which had been ransacked long ago, making this tomb a lucky find for archaeologists. Khufu's tomb is decorated with intricate hieroglyphs and pictures still decipherable today. These hieroglyphs are what enabled experts to discern the nature of this tomb and Khufu's role in the pharaoh's administration. For example, they discovered some of his titles, such as Overseer of the Kentuishi of the Great House and Great One of the Ten of Upper Egypt. Clearly, Khufu was pretty high up. The design of Khufu's tomb has a lot to owe to the pyramids. In order to enter the tomb, one must descend down a corridor into a hallway which leads to an antechamber. In that room, there is a depiction of him sitting before an offering table and 2 spots that lead into his resting place. This floor plan is remarkably similar to the kind constructed beneath the pyramids in Egypt's 5th dynasty. Given its intricacy and informativeness, Khufu's tomb is sure to be a hub of interesting information for years to come. Number 2. Keshet of the Priests. Archaeologists were rightly stunned by what they found at El Asasif, an ancient necropolis near Luxor, Egypt. They found the mummified remains of 30 people locked inside of tightly closed coffins, estimated to be around 3,000 years old. It was denominated a Keshet, which means a place where things were hidden away. The coffins were arranged in 2 layers. This discovery is now referred to as the Keshet of the Priests, as some of these bodies belong to those among the priestly class of ancient Egyptian society. They were preserved with incredible care. When the coffins were opened at a press conference, onlookers were stunned to see their wrapping completely untouched. There are 23 men, 5 women, and 2 children in these sarcophagi, and the bodies aren't the only astounding thing about these tombs. Each coffin bears detailed paintings depicting some of the famous Egyptian deities. Experts are still trying to translate the hieroglyphics and analyze the drawings on the coffins. Hopefully this will make it clearer who these people were, why they were buried in the Keshet, and what their lives were like. Number 1. Pyramid Mystery. Recently, archaeologists discovered something strange beside a 4,600-year-old pyramid, the ancient remains of a 13-year-old girl in a squatting position inside of her otherwise empty tomb. No one knows when she was buried, but they found out about her age by looking at her skeleton. There were also animal heads, probably from bulls, and tiny ceramics in the makeshift cemetery. However, these may not have been placed there for the girl at all. Archaeologists aren't sure whose funeral they were meant for. Called the Meidum Pyramid, it was initially a step pyramid before it was converted into a true pyramid with smooth surfaces. Its entrance is on the north face of the pyramid above ground level, which takes you to a vertical shaft that leads down to the burial chamber. There is no sarcophagus and no evidence of a burial, so it is likely that this pyramid was used as an experiment. Ancient Emperor Snefru guided the construction of many pyramids and gave the Meidum Pyramid a significant remodeling, upgrading it from a step pyramid to a smooth one. No one is quite certain when or why he felt the need to construct so many pyramids, but it might be that he was trying to figure out the best way to make them. His trial and error must have worked, since he passed that knowledge down to his son Khufu, who built the Great Pyramid of Giza. Because of this discovery, the nature of the Meidum Pyramid and Snefru's intentions with it are mysterious. Why the cemetery next door? Probably some part of Meidum was built for Snefru in particular, and he changed it later. In any case, his influence on the pyramids is undeniable, even if we are still unsure about his plans. Thanks for watching! Have you ever been to Egypt? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on the latest videos. See you soon! Bye!